Hi, Serena. Thank you so
Hi,
much for your time. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
That's great, Serena. So, Serena, for our guests, for our viewers who may not be as familiar with you, can you please take a minute and talk about your background and your experiences?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Serena, she, her pronouns. I'm based in the Bay Area. I'm responsible for consumer insights function at Strava. For the people who don't know about Strava, we are a tech company that offers apps for all active people. We connect millions of runners, cyclists, hikers, walkers, and other active people through the sports they love, all on our mobile app and website. You can track your fitness activity through the app, and you can connect with other people who share your interests. As for my background, I started on the agency side and had the honor to work with the top talents in our industry in research companies like Kantar and Ipsos, and really learn from the world-class insights professional. I'm also privileged to have had the opportunity to travel internationally and work in Asia, Europe, and now in the US. Yeah, that's a summary of my background.
That's wonderful, Serena. Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
Um, so, Serena, in your current role, um, what does your leadership rely on you for when your management comes to you and says, "Great job"? What are they really expecting from you?
This is a really good question. Um, I think a lot of us think our job as insights professional or is delivering research and be the eyes of the organization. We put so much blood, sweat, and tears in, making sure we delivered highest quality data possible. But actually, if you take a step back, our job essentially is directing business decisions and providing clarity. So when my leadership says, good job, when my CEO comes to me and says, I love what you did, it means because of my work, they have more clarity on the situation, on the market, on our competitors. They are more confident in the business decisions they are making. For me, the CI function is the most successful when it gives the business a competitive advantage. Because of the insights we provide, the company can predict future consumer behaviors and stay ahead of time. You drive spot-on personalized marketing and vastly improve marketing efficiency and ROI. So that's what my leadership is counting on me for.
That's great to hear, Serena. I think that's a great summary. Um, let's focus a little bit on, your work in helping your teams
Yeah.
better understand the customer.
Mhm.
Uh, can you please talk a little bit about in your everyday life, what are some of the challenges that you help your internal stakeholders, your internal teams really focus on the customer in improving their experiences and better understanding them?
Yeah, I think that's all our job is about. Improving customer experience, making sure we're offering products that meets customers' needs and expectations. In terms of the challenges that I typically face, I think a lot of our insights friends and peers can relate to this. One of the biggest challenge we all typically face is that no action is taken following the recommendations.
Mm.
I think there can be a lot of reasons why the recommendations are not acted on. The trust your CA function has within the organization, the way the insights are communicated, other constraints the organization is facing. But I think us as CI professionals should take one step forward and look into why our recommendations are not acted on and what we can do to drive the actions to be taken.
I'm really glad you mentioned this as an example, Serena. This is, I wanted to share with our viewers as well and our audience as well. I mean, this is such a widespread phenomenon, and it happens, as you are aware, it happens in so many organizations where I've often heard client stories about, the level of investment in time and resources that goes into doing some of these research projects in really helping the organization better understand the customer. And then it just becomes another report, another deck that sits on someone's desk, and nothing gets done. In our practice, Serena, what I typically share with clients is, to be aware that this can happen, and there are strategies to counter against that. One experience share that I would like to do is, typically what we've done that has helped our clients pivot away from facing this situation again is by really focusing on the what and the why of a project early on. As researchers, we often tend to go down the rabbit hole of looking and focusing on the how. And often we get attracted, me included, to the new shiny research tool that's out there. These days, it's AI, right? But before we go down that how, focusing on the how we'll solve that problem, it's really important to understand the what and the why behind it. And to really focus and guide our internal clients on what are we really trying to achieve at the end of the project. One phrase that I really like to use with our clients is, let's pretend that we do a great job and you get the deliverables at the end that you would really like. Help us visualize what that looks like, right? And clients will talk about, well, if I get this, I'll do this in my, this is how it'll help us. This is what I'll do in my business. And then something that we guide clients is, well, go a little deeper. Focus on, okay, so if you get these deliverables, what will you do in your line of work, in your business? How will that help you move the needle? And so we transport them, 3-4 months out into thinking about how they will use the insights, what they will use the insights for, because that helps us go with them into that place in the future on what are they really trying to solve and how can we design for it. Does that make sense?
That totally makes sense. I think you made a super good point about, be clear, crystal clear on why we're doing this research and what objective are we trying to achieve and how we are going to use the insights and to inform more actions. It's such a crucial step, like early on in the research process.
Yes, I completely agree with you, Serena. And, what we also recommend is we, in fact, recommend taking it to the next level. So once they have clearly identified the business impact that they want to achieve, then we guide our clients on, well, now let's tie it to a certain financial or other key business metric. Because, at the end of the day, every research project is an investment, right? And we as researchers have to justify the ROI on it. So do you agree with that?
I absolutely 100% agree with that. I think that's probably one of the reasons why some actions are not acted on, because we have not shown the business impact of those actions. Hence, our internal stakeholder or internal clients are not clear on what we're missing out and what's the consequences of not taking an action.
Correct. And that sometimes does happen, Serena. And so thank you for sharing that. What we also like to guide folks on is help your internal stakeholders identify what those key business success metrics or financial metrics would look like. I'll give you an example. We were recently, I wouldn't say recently, maybe a few quarters ago, we were approached by a client that wanted to do some customer journey work, in the tech space. And so when we asked them, okay, well, what's the end goal? They said, well, we really want to better understand our customers. There are so many things we don't understand from, about their whole buying journey. And we said, okay, that's great. And then they were like, well, tell us how you'll do it. And, that's the classic trap, right? Because everyone wants to know how will you do it. And I said, look, that's a great question. Let's just put it in our pockets for a few minutes. Let's let's pretend you will understand the journey. What's the end goal of this? And they say, well, we really want sales to go up. That's the end goal. If we understand the customer journey, we want sales to go up. I said, okay, well, by how much? And, they were unprepared for that line of questioning, right? So they're like, we don't know, maybe 5%. I said, okay. So they said, maybe 10%. I said, that's fine. Are you good with that metric? And they said, yes. If we can attribute that sales went up because of the insights and the learnings we got from this one project, that'll make us really happy. I said, well, now let's go further. What is 10%, in your business? And they said, well, it'll be this X millions of dollars, right? I said, let's make that the financial goal of this project. And so by doing it, by establishing the success metric up front, the magic that happens, Serena, as you're aware, and I'm sharing it with our viewers, is the research then gets designed to achieve that metric. You know how it is when we're designing a research project and we invite questions from different stakeholders, and then people come with all kinds of questions, but they're sometimes nice to know, but they're not critical. Well, establishing these metrics up front, what that does is it becomes the guiding light, the North Star for the project. And then every question, every research agenda is viewed from the lens of, does it help us get to that goal or not, right? And then we can counter guide or counter challenge clients on, well, remember, we set the goal that this has to increase sales. You're having this question, well, help us understand how will answering this question get you to that goal? And sometimes people are like, well, this is how, and that's great. Or they agree. They're like, you're right. Instead of asking this question, let's ask this question, right? But what happens is, Serena, by doing it this way, the magic we've seen happen is you then start getting buy-in. People start getting involved, right? It's very organic, but it's magical, right? And then as you're doing the research, people are like knocking on your door. When is it coming out? When do we get the results, right? And when the results do come out, then, action happens, because then you can justify what is the end, what the end will look like, what's the end impact. Just to close on this example, I'll share with you and our viewers this particular client, because the research was designed to understand the customer with the single point goal of enhancing sales. In doing the research, and I'm very proud of our team for doing this, we were able to uncover sales opportunities with existing clients to the tune of 75 million. This could not have happened if the research was not designed to uncover those opportunities. So, that's the magic, that we went in, we understood the customer, but then it also became tangible. So I'm sorry, I went off on this long path, but I think what you said really sparked this experience share from my end on how internal buy-in is so critical and how it can be achieved upfront.
Yeah, it's extremely important to have your internal buy-in like early on in the process. And I also super appreciate that you ask those hard questions at the beginning. That's what we hire agencies for, right? We hire agencies to make us smarter, and we hire agencies to ask those hard questions and to help us think through, things. So yeah, I super appreciate that. And the fact that you brought, the internal stakeholders along the process, the collaboration. Yeah.
That's great, Serena. And and you sparked that in my mind. So thank you. I want to now focus on your work in really helping your organization better understand the customer. Can you please talk about an example or a time when you were faced with any particular customer challenges, or when there was a time when you had to focus on the customer, how you went about it, what actions you took, and then what was the end goal or end result for your organization?
Yeah. So in my past life, there was a time I was working for an organization that I would say is not as customer centric as I hoped it would be. So I initiated this I guess customer journey research actually as a part of a larger strategy to awaken a customer-centric culture and drive consumer empathy. I think the journey map can be a highly valuable educational piece, accelerating a customer-centric mindset across business and drive empathy. So how I did that is really, like you said, get buying early on, connecting with stakeholders, bring them with you along the process, regardless of where they fit in the company. So one example is as we are entering the analysis phase, when people come to those working sessions, before revealing the final results, I ask each of my audience about how they make purchase decisions in this category for various reasons, and mapped their journey. This way, people see the true nature and complexity of customers' experience, and that really illuminates critical friction points and moments of truth, and will also have have the visibility on different perspective and different consumer segments and how their journey might be different from each other. Yeah, so that was kind of what I did in my latest customer journey research, I think the most impactful result is obviously we deliver, the research findings through the organization. We planned our product roadmap based on the journey map as well as our marketing activities. But I think the most important part is people across the organization understood the pains, the gains, and jobs to be done much, much better, and they can relate to our users and potential users. Hence, we can design products and create marketing activities to better serve those needs and expectations. And that, like you said, ultimately drives business growth. And at the end of the day, everything we do must drive business growth one way or another. Like you said, it's all about ROI, like what's the return on your research investment.
That's a great example that you shared, Serena, and thank you for doing that. I think there's a lot of wisdom and a lot of gold nuggets in your example, and I want to just double click on a few for our viewers so that they don't drive by this quickly. You talked about empathy and pain points and identifying those. I want to highlight that for our viewers because these pain points, in the journey vernacular, we also refer to them as components of moments of truth. In fact, moments of truth, Serena, as you know, they are nothing more than key moments that happen in the customer's journey that really connect one journey stage to another. And what I always like to say is these moments of truth are so important to understand because they're very transformative. They're always changing. And they change only in two forms, or they can only take two forms. They can either become pain points if you don't focus on them, or they can become peak points that really delight the customer. And that's something that is so valuable in your example that I wanted our viewers to take away from this conversation. Because if an organization does not focus on these moments of truth, lets them become pain points, what really happens is you are then letting the customer really walk from one stage into the other stage of their buying journey, holding someone else's hand who better understands those moments of truth and is focused on really making sure that they don't let that customer experience the pain they're experiencing with you, but in fact is focusing their efforts on making that a peak point or a moment of delight for the customer. So I'm really glad that, in your work, you were able to catch and identify these pain points and come up with actions for removing them, because without those, if an organization does not do that, then they are at risk of losing those customers.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And I think it's crucial for insights professionals to bring those pinpoints to the organization so that, people that are not working on research on a daily basis also can relate to, the user's pain and can work on solutions to make those pinpoint the peak moments and delight moments for our users.
Right. So Serena, I know we're almost at the end of our time, but I wanted to ask you one final question. Given all your rich experiences, not just in this project, but in other projects as well, if you had the opportunity to focus again on the customer or their journey, is there anything that you would do different to improve the end result?
Yeah, this is an excellent question, and a question that I often think about. Um, Customer journey has long been a fascination of marketers, and it's such a great tool for effective marketing. Um, However, as our technology advances, I think the consumer journey has become less predictable as there are much more media channels for consumers to interact. We now have prolific use of smartphone, tablets, wearables, and we see much more cross-channel behaviors with unlimited buying options and avenues for consumers to collect product information. The customer is just much more powerful than ever. And the combination of more media channels and the fact that consumers are hopping between channels has driven the complexity of customer journey to increase by several order of magnitude. So there can be like really millions of variation of journey. So to keep up with consumers, I think there are two things that I would want to do to improve. One is design more complex and broad user journeys. And two is potentially using technology that prioritizes the use of first-party data to understand real-time context and enhance customer engagement. A million customers will have a million journeys. With the technology advancement and companies having more access to customer data, we could potentially, customize the brand experience for this 1 million customer journey and meet their personal needs.
Yeah, I think your instincts are on the right track, Serena. And what I'll also share with you in terms of an experience share in our viewers is that's absolutely right. Consumer journeys are complex, especially in today's day and age, like you said, with the wide sources of information that consumers have access to. What we recommend to a lot of our clients is to also be more sophisticated in their data collection. And so, in our line of work, we do a lot of behavioral data collection that could be, like you said, using those, third-party point of contact data points. Sometimes with our consumer focused clients, we'll do a lot of eye tracking, biometrics, tracking on their online activities, to get that behavioral component, and then blending that in with a lot of real-time, in-the-moment data collection formats, like leveraging their smartphones to get information for specific journey stages as and when those consumers are either making buying decisions or they are making shopping decisions. And then also then blending it all with reflective formats like your traditional surveys, qualitative sessions, in-the-moment sessions, IDIs, interviews. So that is something that I will share with our viewers as well is when you're looking at consumer journeys, then take it as a given that they are complex and don't rely on just one type of tool or one format like qualitative or quantitative. Don't just expect to understand the nuances of the journey by just doing one survey. That won't be sufficient. And then why should you? I mean, if consumers have access to a lot of information gathering tools, then our toolbox should also have a lot of tools that get us those insights. So I thought that was a great comment on what you would do to improve. And I wanted to compliment you on that. And I wanted our viewers to also be aware that there are a lot of tools out there. The trick is in knowing which tool to use and when, and then to be able to blend it so that you can actually simplify the complex journey and not fall into the pitfall of, Serena, like you were talking, where a lot of resources get put in, but then buy-in or action does not happen.
Yeah. And I'm super glad that we have leaders like you that's, constantly bringing new technologies like eye tracking or biometric technology to really enhance our understanding of consumer journey and lead advancement of, our customer journey research.
Thank you, Serena. You're so kind. I have to say, I am no leader. I stand on the shoulders of giants at Gold Research who are way more savvy and way more super smart than I am. I have just picked up on what I've learned from some of the masters that I've had the pleasure of working with. So I'm really happy that we were able to share our thoughts and share our experiences today. And just in closing, I wanted to thank you again so much for your time. I think our viewers will pick up a lot of gold from this segment. And again, I'm really pleased that we were able to connect and have this discussion today.
Great. Thank you. The same. Yeah, really glad to be here.
Thank you so much.